Today, I'm not selling you anything. There's no offer at the end, no code or no deadline. I do run a company and I'll show you a tool we built, but for about 12 minutes near the end. Everything else is things I want you to be able to use on your next job. Here's what I want you to leave with. First, what DTP actually is, and second, what happens after you translate that decides your turnaround and your margin, and third, what breaks after you translate. Because a perfect translation can still come back rejected, and fourth, a checklist you can screenshot and reuse for your future jobs. Please do put the questions in the chat as they come. Don't save them up. I'd rather answer them while they're fresh, and also we'll have a separate Q&A session in the end. Now, moving on, a bit about me quickly. I run DTP Labs in New Delhi. It's a multilingual desktop publishing and localization company going on since 2004 and a CITLoB member like many of you. We are the team LSPs send their files to when the files are the problem. We've completed over 125,000 projects with 70 specialists in-house and 100 plus target languages. Most of that works arrives from the LSPs worldwide and from translators. So we work with people in this room, not instead of them. Now, the biggest question here, what is DTP? So desktop publishing, most people hear that phrase and think of layout, InDesign, page design, the pretty part at the end. That's half of it, and it's the less interesting half. Before a single word is translated, the document has to be ready for it. That readiness is DTP, and it breaks down into three jobs. First, extract and rebuild, which is turning scans, PDFs, and log files into something clean and editable, with the structure intact, not just the characters. OCR gives you the words, DTP gives you the document. Second, preserve the design, layout, tables, font, images, hierarchy. All of it has to survive the trip into another language and very often another script. Third, prepare for the tools. You must have heard of the CAT tools. Segment and engineer the file so that your CAT tool and your translation manager works for you instead of fighting you. Let me ask you something and please answer in the chat. How many of you have been sent a scanned PDF and asked for a per word quote? If there's anyone who's been through that, please reply. That is the entire talk in one question, and we'll come back to it. Okay, I can see some responses saying yes. So this is a very common problem and like a very common thing all the translators get. So here's the thing about this work. It's invisible when it's done well. Nobody has ever complimented a translator on the file prep, but when it's done badly, everyone downstream pays for it. Usually a translator, which is usually in the unpaid hours. Now, also DTP bookends translation. This is the most useful picture in the session, so let me slow you down. Most people think that DTP is something that happens after they hand their work back. Actually, it happens twice. Step one, when the source files arrive, scans, PDFs, InDesign packages, manuals, they're often messy, often locked, often incomplete. Step two is the pre-translation DTP, OCR, conversion, file engineering, CAT tool prep, and critically an accurate word count. We'll come back to that. Step three is the translation or the post editing on a clean segmented text if step 2 was done properly, which is the biggest assumption. Step 4 is another step of TTP, which is the post translation part. Re-layout in the target language, expansion, right to left, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Indic, fonts, table of contents, page numbers, etc. Step 5 is the final delivery to your client, publication ready, page for page. Here's the rule: if the step 2 is skipped, step 3 costs more, and step 4 becomes a rescue operation. Every hour saved by skipping preparation gets paid back later with interest by whoever's holding the file when the deadline arrives. Now, what actually lands in your inbox? There is mostly like the file types can be summarized into six. You'll recognize everyone in a line each. A scanned PDF, as you know, is picture of a page. There is no text in it at all, nothing to select, nothing to count, nothing to segment. A digital PDF has real text but no structure. Paragraphs shatter into individual lines. Tables are just words that happen to be sitting near each other. The third is an InDesign or a FrameMaker package. These these are generally editable, but only and only if the fonts and the linked images came with it, which roughly half of the time they don't. Word made by a converter is the dangerous one because it looks fine. Underneath, there are fake tables, floating text boxes, a hard return at the end of every visual line. Images and screenshots, that's text baked into pixels, as you know. And lastly, the handwritten or the stamped forms, which are certificates, records, affidavits, the hardest OCR case there is. And if you do legal or immigration work, especially, the most common thing you'll see. Exactly, only one of these six are actually ready for a CAT tool. The other five need DTP work before you can start. Now, we'll talk about the five things that break the translation before it starts. The five failures. Everyone turns a per word job into an hourly one, whether you or not you're being paid hourly. One, first, there's no text layer. The file can't be segmented, so it can't be counted, so it cannot be honestly quoted. If you've ever given a number for a scanned document, you weren't really quoting, you were guessing and you were absorbing the difference. Two, the shattered structure, the expensive one, and almost nobody talks about it. When a PDF converts badly, every visual line becomes its own paragraph. Your sentences split across three segments. Your 95% translation memory matches read as new segments. You have a memory full of work you've already done and you paid new words to redo it. That's not a file problem, that's a money problem. Three tables built at text boxes. The grid is gone. It looks like a table, but it's actually not one. Every cell has to be realigned by hand after you translate it, and the text will expand, so every column does will need to be moved. For the text living inside images, as you all know, the diagrams, charts, screenshots, stamps, logos. These are the often missed in your word count, found by the client, always found by the client, which you mostly realize later. Five, the fonts that didn't cover your script, the file opens perfectly, the language doesn't. Empty text boxes, clip Devangri conjuncts, and it looks fine to everyone who can't read the language, which is everyone in the approval chain except you. Spot these in the first 60 seconds, open the PDF, try to select a sentence, look at one table, look for the text in the diagram 60 seconds before you quote. This will be really helpful in the end. Now, you must be wondering what pre-translation DTP is. So let me go through it step by step. The first step here is to assess the source, the format, the text layer, page count, how much is the images, what links, what fonts and links are missing. Now, then we OCR and reconstruct them. Then we rebuild the layout with real tables, real styles, real lists. Also, we have to often clean the file for any hard returns, stray frames, duplicate layers, and then finally engineer it for the CAT tool. Then and only then do we count and quote. Now there's a kind account you'd sign your name to. So quote before step six, and you're not quoting, you are guessing. So now this is where the word count trap, this is where the freelance margins disappear. On the left, what the PDF shows you, body text, the paragraphs you scroll past, everything you can select with your cursor. This is what gets quoted. On the right, what you actually translate. All of that plus the text inside diagrams, charts, and screenshots. Every table cell, header row, and the unit label, captions, footnotes, callouts, margin notes, headers, footers. That gap is often 20 to 30% of the whole job, which nobody is getting paid for. So the word count is an output of the preparation, not an input to it. Ask like ask for a number of people before the file is prepared. The professional answer is a range plus a separate line for the file preparation. Now, this is the last slide, and after that, I'm open to any questions you might have so far. Now, the second half is what happens after you translate. Text changes size. You know this instinctively. Here it is as a shape. German runs about 30% more than any other language, then Spanish, Portuguese, Arabic around 25%, French 20, Hindi and Russian is around 15%. Because there's no long sentence to average it out. These are indicative ranges for running text, not guarantees. A 12-page English brochure is almost never 12 pages in German, and it's rarely 12 pages in Chinese either. Somebody has to make it fit. That somebody is called the post-translation DTP. And here's the part that concerns you directly. If your deliverable is laid out file rather than plain text, expansion is your problem too. Your translation can be perfect and the file can still come back rejected because it no longer fits the page. So it's better to say in your code or the relayout becomes essentially free work for you, like for your client. And please feel free to stop me in case you have any in the middle. Now we come, how do you, okay, so there's a question, how do you calculate words in the file? So firstly, there are converters. For example, I'll be showing you a tool in the end. In that, all you have to do is just put a image or a PDF file, any format you may have, and put it in the converter. And once it, and then it will give you a word output. And from that word output, you can calculate the exact number of words, because that covers the uneditable part as well, because we make it editable. So that gives you a fairly accurate word count for your job. I hope that answers your question. Now, moving on, the scripts and the fonts. Where the layout dies, for four failure modes worth knowing by name: the right to left languages, Arabic, Hebrew, Urdu. The whole page mirrors, columns, the images, bullets, even the page order of the finished PDF. It isn't a text setting, it's a real layout rebuild. Okay. Yeah. Now, the Chinese, Japanese, Korean, there's no spaces between words, so the line breaking follows completely different rules. Latin fonts simply don't have the glyphs, and mixed Latin, Chinese, Japanese, Korean runs real typographic error. Index scripts, and I'm sure most of you work with index scripts, and as conjuncts and the matras sit above and below the line. When the line spacing is copied straight from the English original, they get clipped silently. The file doesn't just show errors, it looks wrong to anyone who can read it, especially your client. Like, the most useful sentence in this localize in your localization email should be, please send the fonts with the file. It's better to ask for it upfront in writing. Now, the checklist I was talking about towards the start of my video, you can screenshot this as it may be helpful for you at a later stage. The 10 checks. Uh, Now, I won't read the all 10, but let me read a few of them. Basically, the file opens with the correct fonts embedded, no text overflows, tables still aligned, headers, footers, etc. Read the final PDF, not the Word file. They are not the same document, and the client will only open the PDF. And also look at the laid out page, not the text. You proofread your translation, almost nobody proofreads the page, so it's better you do. Now, to the most interesting part, what it means for you as a freelancer or a company, right? If you take one slide from today, take this one. There are three habits, scope it, two questions before you code every single time. First, can I have the editable source file, not the PDF? Half the time it exists and nobody thought to send it. Second is the deliverable clean text or a publication ready page. Those are different jobs with different prices. And if you don't ask, the client will assume it is the more expensive one, which is the publication ready page. Now, then you have to price it. File preparation is a line item billed by page or by hour, separate from your per word rate. This is normal. This is what agencies do. Absorbing it silently isn't generous, it's invisible. And invisible work, as you know, never gets valued, it gets expected. Next, protect it. One sentence in every quote, and I'd like you to write this down. This quote assumes an editable source file, and that is this code assumes that it's an editable source file and does not include text in images or relayout. Let me say it again slowly. This code assumes an editable source file and does not include text in images or layout. That one sentence has saved more weekends than any CAT tool I know of. It isn't confrontational, it's clarity, and the clients respect that. Red flags quickly from your clients, just type over the PDF. It's only a few pages. Don't worry, the client will fix the layout. No font supplied and no source file ever. No matter how many times you ask, none of these mean say no. They mean code differently. Now, let me talk for 2 minutes about DTP Labs and where a DTP partner fits for you. Very briefly, at DTP Labs, we cover the whole pipeline, which is multilingual DTP in every script, the file prep and engineering, translation, post editing, e learning, multimedia, and PDF accessibility work. But the useful version of the slide for a freelancer is one sentence. You no longer have to turn down a job because the file is a mess. That work can be handed over to a partner, priced into the quote, and you keep the client and the translation. Now, moving on to the next slide, we have 2 decades of DTP experience, and basically we have delivered, as we said, more than 125,000 projects in over 100 languages and scripts, 99.5% on time delivery, and we are ISO certified as well as ATC UK partners till the end of 2026, as well as CITLoB members and Women in Localization members. Now, I want to stop once again for any questions before we move on to the next part of the presentation, which is LingVert. So now the part I flagged at the start, this next 12 minutes is about a tool we built, then the rest of the hour is yours for questions. Here's the problem we kept hitting. Even inside a company with 70 TTP specialists, most document preparation still began with a human retyping a scan or rebuilding a table by hand. For a freelancer, that's lost evenings. For an agency, it's the slowest step in the job. So we productized it. LingVert takes a scanned, handwritten, or multilingual document and gives you back a clean, editable Word file translated into any language you want if needed. Layouts, tables, fonts, and equations all preserved. Four things which are worth knowing. The layout is rebuilt, not approximated. Real margins, real columns, real tables. 100 plus languages. We work with right to left languages, even the Chinese, Japanese, Korean, or Indic languages that are natively handled rather than just being bolted on. Equations come out as editable word maths, not a flattened picture. And the structure comes with it: headings, lists, footers, page numbers, etc. It is a reconstruction engine, not a chatbot rewiring your document. That distinction matters, and you'll see it in a second. Okay, so now I'd like to show you a video, and post that we will move on to the next part of the presentation, wherein we will run some live documents to show you the quality of the tool. So perfect. So I'll now run you through the demo of LingVert. So basically, here we have two options. First and foremost, we have a batch upload feature in which we can just upload as many files we need. So we do not need to wait for the documents to get processed. To show you some samples, this is an example of some documents which we received from our clients, again, non-confidential. For example, this is in another language, Spanish. For example, we have the Telugu FIR, which is very relevant to India. Apart from this, we have original file, which is a poor scan and a lot of text. So let me begin by presenting one of them. So here, all we have to do is open the file. We can upload as many. For example, I'll upload two for now. Here, firstly, now we have the option to basically select whether we want the file in the same language, which is a OCR plus formatting, or we want to translate it into any other language using the drop down. Here we have the like a variety of languages to choose from. For example, in the Telugu FIR, let's translate it into English. We have a separate feature for legal English as well. And for the translate English talk, let's try to keep it in the same language. Now, or maybe let's translate it into English as it is in a foreign language. Here, all we have to do is from the drop down, select English. Now we upload and process two files. Here, as we see, both of them can be run in parallel, and here we can open one of them to see the live progress while we are at it. Here, as you can see, live, it's gonna translate everything into English and then basically be ready. So it takes around 20 seconds a page, depending on the document type. Here, so now the file is ready. Mostly now, the most important step is that we need it in a Word format. So all we have to do is click on Docs, save it anywhere we want in our system, and now we have a fully editable so now we can basically edit it like it's a fully editable Word file. There's nothing like basically now the PDF is converted and we can make any changes we want. Also, there's an additional option we have in LingVert where we have the AI editor in which we can select any part of the invoice. For example, we want to change the amount here. We have to do is select, it has automatically selected, which is the table cell row 3, and just say change amount to maybe 3,000 and then complete page. Then it will work in the background and then basically you will have the output ready for you. This is for people, for example, if you want to change something, here you can see the total due becomes 3,000 euros. Now we accept the change because we're happy with it. and then this will start reflecting in the new document, wherein we can again just download it and see the new version. Or in case needed, we can edit any part manually as well here, rather than opening the Word file and editing again here. We just edit anything we need, change the amount if needed, change any wording which we're not happy with. We can save the changes here, and once we download the docs again from this, it will all be reflected in the new doc. Now coming back, a first document, the FIR in Telugu, as you can see, it is converted it into a clean editable Word file in English with the formatting intact. All we need to do here is again open the docs, save it, and we have it ready. So this helps in eliminating the file prep part, wherein all we need to do is just download it from LingVert, and all at a very economical cost. Now, the other two documents which we talk about, for example, the original and the blurred OCR, again, we will multiple process and there's no limit. You can select 100 documents at the same time. Here, as you can see, the default setting is original. We will keep it at the same and then just upload and process two files. Again, it will highlight, it will start working in the background and we can see the progress live. Here, as this document was very blurry and very difficult to read. So now in seconds, we have it again fully editable with nothing missing. Here also, as I explained earlier, we can make edits in the AI editor. Maybe if you want, we can change the language into Hindi for one section or the whole document. It is completely our choice. And here, manually, as you can see, we can straight up edit here as well. So now another feature we have, so this covers the OCR trans part as well as translation I've shown you. Now, for example, the translators have certain requirements in which they need their files formatted in a particular format. So here we have presets, some are already there, or we can create a new profile in which we can name it individually, for example, test one, then layout mode, if we want the page headers, footers, watermarks, signatures, stamps preserved, then typography includes the font. Override AI's choice. For example, we want Times New Roman, we can select it. Now, for example, we want size 12 here, image handling. So there are multiple options to select from the drop down. And once you do, just create, the profile will be reflected here. And now when you go to digitize, we can just select the same document which we wanted, and instead of the Lingvo default, we can choose the formatting preset, for example, test 3. Now when we upload the file, everything will be done according to the instructions we have given, including the font size, tables, photos. Now, as we were discussing, we were left with this document. So in the meanwhile, this is also ready. As you can see, the tables are intact, the images, because it's illustration of Lord Bible, so it auto recognizes, and this again the file is ready to go to be translated by you or in the cat tool. As you can see, it captures all the handwritten text as well, and now you can try it on your most complex document and see the quality. Here, for example, NWT Barber land claims, everything is captured in the document, nothing is missing. Okay, and regarding the sign up, so the sign up is very easy, and we're giving 100 free credits to every user so that they can see the quality firsthand before trusting us or before trusting our software. Here, all you need to do is put basic contact details as well, and the moment you click create account and verify your email, you will receive 100 free credits which you can test on any documents. These are enough for around 15 to 20 pages for you to test the tool. And I would say the costing is also very economical at less than 10 rupees a page on average. Now I want to stop again for any questions you may have about LingVert. Can you please explain about file types in which DTP works? Okay, I'll come back to that. Can you enable paragraph marks in MS Word? Okay, so can you tell me what exactly you mean by paragraph marks here?
Just we need to know whether it's a OCR copy or not in the Word document after we convert.
Can you repeat, please?
After converting in the OCR,
Mm-hmm.
the tool, we need to
Mm-hmm.
check the out the quality of the Word document
Okay,
through
so you
the
want me?
Yeah, in the
Hmm.
Word document, you can just option called Control Shift 8.
Okay, so which one do you want to open? For
Word,
example,
yeah, yeah, this one.
okay.
Just enable.
Yes, now
Just do
you
Control Shift 8.
Control Shift Delete
8, 8, 8.
it. Okay,
Okay.
here and for
Yeah,
example,
yeah. Yeah, I got it, got it.
and here if you want to see this, we can again do Control Shift 8. Here you can see the section breaks and the line break.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm got it.
Now, any more questions for anyone?
Hi, Vedant. So, is it possible to know how much credits we will be spending approximately on a file before processing it?
It is actually basically anything you process will be less than 10 credits, which is 10 rupees. So I would say on average, it will not cost you more than 5 to 6 rupees a page, no matter how complicated the document is. If you want, you can share me a document and I can run it for you and let you know the cost after this call via email. But what I can assure you is that the average cost over spread across maybe 100 pages will not cross more than rupees 5 per page. And what I mean by that is, like, just to give you a better understanding, here in front of you we can open any document we want and we can run it here, like the worst handwritten English scans, anything we want, and it will not mess up anything. So for example, let's keep find a very tough document because all is public here, so it doesn't matter. We can take maybe this one. Let me This is still easy comparatively. We can, for example, go for this. This honestly also, I would say, let me think. Yeah, for example, we can take this one. Again, all we need to do is save the image in our downloads. I'm saving it in. And now we go to LingVert, digitize. Here we go. We upload the document, which we did. Here we go. All because we want the same language, we will do make it same as original, and yeah, it takes around 15%. So it is German. So as you can see, it has completely captured everything in German, including the footer in this case. So again, as I said, all you need to do is create a free account, and you're most welcome to test it on your first documents. Here, to top up or to buy more credit, everything is built inside, wherein you can see the plan options. So credit costs around 1 rupee, and as I said, everything would be below under 5 rupees a page for bulk or single pages as well.
So, do you mean regardless of number of words in a single page?
Yes, regardless of number of words, the cost will be 3 to 6 rupees, and as I said, on average 4 to 5 rupees. No matter the words, it's all dependent on the level of formatting required, which is determined by our model and the LLM models we use. Again, one more thing, like how it fits in your workflow. If you work solo, you can stop retyping the scans, or let me just share my now. Okay, so also a problem with some tools which we've seen is that in case the translation, like for example, the page runs continues, for example, from one page to another, what the tools do is they only capture the page of the translation and then they treat the second page as a new translation, not realizing it's part of the same sentence. For that, we have sorted it out, and now no matter how continuous the translation is, you can run the whole doc and also save it as a combined docs, which will take care of the formatting automatically. Also, as you can see, the in the combined docs, the sentences, tables, and flowing text will be merged into one continuous document, ideal when the file will be read and edited as a whole. While in the page by page docs, it will be translated page by page with the original layout held exactly. Ideal, of course, when the page structure must not move, certificates, forms, etc. Now, how it fits in your workflow, if you work solo or you're a freelance translator, you can stop retyping these scans. You can get editable source files in seconds, take on jobs previously you couldn't, also quote from a real word count instead of an educated guess, charge for prep as a separate service because it now costs you minutes. And again, 100 free credits on sign up, no credit cards to test on your real pages. And if you run a team, it speeds up the like us at DTP Labs, it speeds up the slowest step in the job, and it will free the DTP people for high value layout work, and it will be a consistent editable source for your CAD tools. Hence, as I said, I'll post the link in chat. All you need to do is create an account and feel free to test it out. Now I open the floor for questions for the remaining of the session. Okay, so I see a question. Is there any confidentiality policy? Yes, so we've taken care of it because the LLM, basically we use the paid versions of LLM, and hence all the data that is kept by us is deleted within 7 days. And for that, actually, I have my team member, Ved, who can clarify further on the security. Ved, can you just unmute yourself and please talk about the confidentiality? Till then, I'll post the link.
So is there any particular question that I can answer for you related to privacy? So as mentioned by Vedant, we have 7 days confidentiality from the paid APIs which do serve. Then there is another options that has particularly served as a isolated environment which we can do for you. So basically, if you want a complete isolation where you do not want LLM to see any of your data, so you can just uh, ask us to build a deploy a model in your environment so that it never leaves. Whereas in terms of security, we offer the full end-to-end encryption where even us cannot read what you upload on the lingvert.com. It's completely prohibited. It's no human verification and read it. We cannot read it. And once the data history you want to delete it, once you delete it, it will be deleted forever from our servers. Only the basic like transaction amount, how much credit it charged, how much pages it was, will be kept for us. So if there any question related particularly to the privacy, I can help it answer for you.
And also, we can talk about the no retention policy, which we've opted for, wherein these LLMs will never use your data to train their models. So that is also part of the privacy policy. And in case you want a detailed view, you can also refer to the privacy page on our website, where it mentions exactly what we're doing and how your data is processed, and there's no deviation from that. And actually now we're working, a lot of law firms and lawyers are using us, and I think, as you know, they are the most worried about confidentiality, but we've been able to give them assurances through our documents that yes, it is actually confidential and it is not used to, your data is not used for anything else except for the purpose of preparation. Is there any agreement on paper or mail? What is the price of LingVert? Okay, as I said, agreement. Firstly, once you can have a look at the website which has the privacy policy, and if you agree with it, you can create the account. So the terms of conditions are listed again. In case you want to opt for an enterprise model, most welcome to email us and we can discuss that further. Regarding the price of LingVert, there is no subscription. It is pay per use. So we do not burden you with any monthly subscription. If you want to use, the credits never expire. So if you buy credits, they remain with you, don't expire, and you can keep using them as and when needed. So it is a completely pay per use policy. Okay, next question is, what LLM models are used? Will it get changed or balanced based on accuracy? No, so the LLM models, so basically it's a mix of LLM models and our own model. For the formatting part, which LLM struggle with, we actually trained our own internal model on thousands of documents to achieve this level of accuracy. And regarding the LLM models, again, as I said, they're all listed at the website itself. Can we use our LLM model? No, as of now, you cannot, because the models we have used are the best, which we've tested over documents and feel the accuracy is the most with them. Hence, we suggest you can check out the quality, and in case you have any feedback, you can directly send it to us and we shall take care of it.
Also, if I may chime in, so I have been using LingVert for quite a while now, and it's been a very good experience so far. It's the best kind of tool that I've used for DTP, certainly. I had a lot of problems earlier with OCR tools. There were a lot of junk characters, lot of mess ups with the formatting, but none of that is the case with LingVert. So I can vouch for the same. And this is not a sponsored promotion or
Yes,
anything.
actually, Sanket was one of our first users also, and all his feedback we have incorporated, and we are making improvements every day. And hence, like, we also encourage you that in case ever you face any issue, you're more than welcome to even call me directly. I'll be sharing my number after the session as well.
Hi, Vedaant, Deepak here. Thank you for the presentation. So one quick question on LLM. So do
So,
you have a domain-specific LLM or are you using the generic LLM model?
I think Ved can answer that better. Ved, please take care of this
Yes,
question.
Basically, LLMs are helping us to do. So we have a generic model which is used, but it is
Mhm.
wrapped around multiple machine learning models that we build, especially in the part of where the design element comes in. So LLM has prone to a lot of hallucination in the process when we create such things. So we build our own system with that. First, it identifies which is the header, which are the tables, which are the particular elements. Let's say paragraph. What are the styling elements put in? So we have a machine learning model in a place which extracts all the informations from it and then pass it to the LLM to make sure that it gives the perfect output in the process.
Okay. Okay. And how do we measure the quality? Is there any industry standard quality framework plugged into this system?
And not currently yet, we haven't done that, but we are getting the fairer results. So we are evaluating a performance based on how accurate the data comes in. Though
Mm-hmm.
we started comparing with the initial DTP files that old process has to be done. So
Mm-hmm.
we are evaluating comparison to that how humans does and how LLM does, how that does it differentiate between these. So basically what we do is for this exactness that we do is like we convert this particular docx into the PDF and then an image. Then we compare the original document versus the converted image of our docx we converted into the PDF, and we
Mm-hmm.
based on that identicalness score we are getting significantly around 90-95 plus percentage of identicalness in the documents.
Okay.
Yes.
What if I have a document which is completely into a new domain which your LLM is not aware how to translate it? What percentage of quality I can expect?
Yes, for example, for such kind of that we have models aren't seen. Basically, we have a three-way process where every documents have certain parameters. Let's say, for example, a document must have a paragraph, a document must have a table or a header or a footer. That is a complete defined. So we did not train it not on a particular document. Instead, we are uh, training it on how it identifies which one is the paragraph, which one is the head, H1 heading, which one is the H2 heading, and how do we differentiate between the columns and the tables. So basically it is identifying the core structure, not the document itself. So I think it will do a fair job when you have tested it on real life. You can just make an account, you have free credit, so you can test it on and be satisfied with yourself with the document accuracy we provide.
And also, you can compare it to other LLM tools like Claude or ChatGPT when it comes to the more complex documents. And I think that yourself, you will see the quality difference. And regarding this question of data security, actually, we have a document prepared which was supposed to show, like send you after, but we can have a look at it then. Neatly listed here, as well as the page preparation is done by our servers. The OCR, we're using Google Cloud Vision, and for layout reconstruction, the Google Gemini paid version, and for QC as well as the final file, our servers, which is the HTML conversions into MS Word and PDF. Hence, and regarding the Gemini or Google's policies, we have taken a detailed inspection from there where it says that there it is not like it's a proper agreement we have in which there it will never be used. And here I can share you this document so you can have a detailed look on how exactly the privacy policy works. And this I will share at the part, like at the end we'll send a kit in which all this will be there for you to refer to. And again, as we isolated environment as well, and of course like the costing is more because these are locally stored, but we have all the options for people who still want everything to be done under their desktop as only and nothing on the internet as well. So yeah, we can discuss them on a case by case basis as well. And here I'll be sharing my email as well in case anyone has any questions. You're more than welcome to email. LSP can compared with traditional manual PDF DTP workflow, which parts of the process does this platform automate and which part still requires DTP specialized? Okay, so basically, this is a pre-translation tool, and hence everything before translation it handles. So basically, it prepares it for in case you want to translate the text inside Word itself, you can do so, or you can also pull the file to the CAT tool. In case you have to, you will only need to make minor changes, if any, and everything else is automated.
Okay, so basically, Dockling, what it does, it converts the documents into the Markdown format, which is not very identical when you have, especially dealing with the uh, complicated tables, and when you have a call span and a row span, basically works with. So we also initially tested with the Docklink framework that was doing a fair bit job in terms of that, but is also a time consuming task which it takes. But our platform does in a very quick way, mostly 30 seconds per page. So
What is difference? Okay, Appfine API plus Docklink plus Gemini Vision. Okay.
so basically, we have been testing on our competitors as well, applying very things. But the most thing which is worked on the very rare document, we have like third party applications like Epifine APIs, which does not give us significant freedom to customize our models or frameworks into one, where which we are developing on our own has customizable outputs and everything which should be done. So
I think more than this, when you get the trial and when you test out the documents, you're more than welcome to compare the output and send us any feedback because, of course, we have done all this market research and we feel that on complex documents, our tool does perform better than the others. So I think once you start using it again without paying, you will realize the quality difference. So it's, I think, more of a check rather than us, claiming things. It's better you test it out on your own. That is what I feel is going to give you the correct and the most accurate answer. Okay, so I think we have time for one last question, if any. Otherwise, we can maybe Sanket and Sankeshwari can wrap up the session.
If anybody wants to ask a question directly, go on, unmute yourself and ask the question directly because you have Vedant right here. It would be nice to hear it directly from him. But if you're shy, feel free to put it on chat.
I think Krishna has some feedback in the chat.
Yeah. Okay, he's saying Yup tool is good, but the rate should be less. Okay, so rate should be less. To be honest, like we like around 4 to 5 rupees is actually one of the like it is pretty cheap as compared to, for example, for DTP of complex documents in house, we charge maybe like many multiple of that. So for a good quality and a trustable tool, I feel the pricing is at the right place. But in case you feel that anything is cheaper with the same quality standards, then I'll be happy to learn more about it and see what we can do. But the whole point here is, like, I would say our unique speciality is the PDF to the docs conversion, because a lot of tools, when it comes to that, it shows you something, but when you actually download the doc, it comes out to be very different. So I think that is something which like other tools can struggle with, which we are confident of. So I think we can now wrap up the session, and any other questions I can deal directly with via email or my contact number in case we are short of time. Otherwise, I'm
yeah,
happy to
we
continue.
have one question, Vedant, with us.
Okay.
Basically, the someone is asking, how do you distinguish between a translation that is grammatically fluent and one is actually accurate in the meaning? In the context, what we are doing is basically we are making sure the all the translation should be semantically correct, because sometimes when you do an OCR, some elements may have a broken text or a smudged text. So we are doing as a word to word translation that won't be possible for us in an environment where the text has been smudged or half written or overlapped with something. So what we have built is to do a semantically meaning conversion of the translations, that if it is accurately visible, that it will be a complete verbatim of a translation. When it has a smudged blurs edges where it can identify what would be the next meaning, it should will be doing the same thing as well.
Thank you, Bojin, for your kind words. And I think
Okay,
we'll be sharing the whole recording in case you want to ever refer back to it.
okay, I guess that brings us to the end of the webinar, which was a very useful, very insightful webinar on such a useful tool. And thanks a lot, Vedant and Ved, for all the insights, for answering the queries.